So when you are just going ahead with some, so for example, IPL cricket team, you are going to predict which team will win this year like this. So for this kind of prediction, what you are going to do apply is a probability, because which team will probably comes with. So you have a two teams finalized. So which team will win? So you can just simply go ahead with the probability. When there is only two categories, we can go ahead with the probability. And we are having a lot of examples for this probability. Even though if some people's actually the mathematician used to go ahead with this. So we all are aware of this Goa casino, right? So when the peoples are going for this Goa casinos, if he is a mathematician, definitely he's gonna apply this what is this called, this probability theorem to predict what will be the positive outcome when it's going to slide. Then what kind of example we can give for the probability is, so what will be the weather for today? It's going to be rain or it's not. So that's a probability, of course. So all these things are your probability theorem. So probability is nothing but a positive outcome. That's what your probability is. So the next thing is, probability is nothing but a value between a certain point. So where simply we can tell uh, 0 and 1. Okay. So where you are having your 0 and 1, the certain event will occur. So for example, either you will get a 0 or 1. So if you are getting a 0.5 or 0.7, something like that, that means you are just going to get some, uh, so of course same, the 0.5 or more than that will be considered as a 1, less than 0.5, you can go ahead as a 0. So the probability of head, so now I am going to flip the coin. So while I am flipping the coin, what will be my probable outcome? So my probable outcome will be maybe a head or tail. Yeah, tail. So when I am just going to flip the coin, may I going to get a head or I am going to head a tail? This is what now I am going to check it out. So here, so when you are just going to make this head and tail probable, so head you can able to make for half of the time. That means you have a 0.5 possibilities to get a head or a 0.5 possibilities to get the tail. So now you this is what your actual trial. So now what you are just going to do is, you are going to flip a coin for 5 times, and each and every time you are having a probable outcome of head is 0.5. So now you are just going to catch it up these things. So experiment, that's nothing but now I am going to flip a coin. So this is a coin, I am going to flip this. So for the first time I am flipping, that's one experiment. Second time I am flipping, that's a two experiment. Third time I am flipping, again that's a three experiment. Third experiment. So every time you are flipping a coin, you can tell us a experiment. So the positive outcome, it's called a simple event. Sum of every possible simple event, that means sum of every possible outcome is, we can call this as a sample space. This all some terms which is actually available in your probability. So you have a dice game, of course we are all aware of this. So when we are going ahead with, I'm just going to roll a dice. So what will be my positive outcome of 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6? Your possible between each and every events is space is 1, correct? If it's a six-sided roll, then 1 and 2 space is 1, 2 and 3 space is 1, 3 and 4 space again 1, 4 and 5 1, 5 and 6 1. So this in between to this space only you are just going to make some events. So E1 to E6. So when you are going to roll the dice for 6 time, you can able to get the probable outcome of 1 as 1 time, 2 as 1 time, 3 as 1 time, 4 as 1 time. But we can't able to expect when we are rolling, we can't, if you are rolling a 6 time a dice, you can't able to expect 1. Maybe you can't able to get the 1 even the 6 time as well. So that's what your probability is. So the probable outcome, we can tell as a probability. So This is actually the formula 1 divided by 6. That's nothing but you can able to expect 1 in the 6 time. So when you are rolling this dias in the 6th time, you can able to expect 1. If it's not working, then again next 6th time you can able to get. That's what your probable outcome is. So when you are just having a company where they are going to make some 50 trumpet, so some of the valves will definitely get defective. So when we are just manufacturing almost 500 products, we can't expect all the products are perfect. We can able to expect some products is not about to, it will definitely make some issue, or it will make something defect. Okay, correct. So this is practically, this is how we are actually handling everything. So that kind of theory is actually we are calling as a probability. So in this probability, we have one more concept that is known as permutation. So the permutation, that is nothing but a set of an object you are just going to arrange in an order. So that's what your permutation is. So I give a ABC to you and I'm asking you to arrange in an order. So you are making ABC, ACB, BAC, BCA, CAB, CBA like this. So you arrange it in a 6 order. So when I am giving a 3 words, what is the possible outcomes? So you can tell possible outcomes are 6 words. So now when you are applying that in the permutation, you need to give a factorial. So factorial means 3 exclamatory symbol. So when we are just evaluating this factorial, we'll be getting 3 into 2 into 1 like this. So this is what your factorial is. So the total output is 6 permutation. So the next thing is, when you can able to apply this permutation is, so website, I want to hack. So I want to know how many password, that means how much uh, passwords I need to try. Okay, so how many possibilities of passwords are there? I want to get those things. So for that perspective, first I am analyzing what's the rule to develop this password. So each and every website, they have some basic rules, right? The password must contain 4 letters, or it must contains number, special characters, all those things. And someone will tell the password must contains only 4 digits. So for example, your phone pay or Google Pay passwords are almost only the 4 characters, correct? So now the same kind of your website is requiring only 4 character password. So it can be a characters, can either be a lower case letters or the digits. This is actually the possibilities. So your lower case letters means only lower case letters, we don't have uppercase letters. So it's not allowing the uppercase letters, it's allowing only lower case and 4 digits. So you can go as a lower case letter or a digits like 0 to 9. And you may not repeat a letter or number. So this is your rule for this password. So now I want to hack one username. So now I want to know how much possibility of the passwords I need to hack. So for to recognize that, so for A to Z we have 26 letter, and 0 to 9 we have a 10 numbers. So I'm adding these two things, I'm getting a 36. So now I'm just applying this in the permutation formula. So it is not going to repeat. So I'm making formula like this if it's not going to repeat. And because we are having it's a only 4 letter passwords, right? So that's the reason here we are using a 4. So the number or object taken at only 4 times. So that's the reason 36 factorial. This number of possibilities divided by 36 minus 4 factorial. So when I am evaluating this thing, so this complete stuff is done. So when we are just multiplying all those things, we'll be getting some answer like this. So you are having almost this much of permutation. So if you want to hack this password, you need to try almost this much of possibilities to come ahead with it. So this is what your permutation is. And your driving license, when you are just going ahead with the plate number, of course this is also not to be repeating one. Okay, actually this is allowing a repetition. That means you can able to apply something like 5426. You can able to use this 2 again. That means you are not going to use a 5426 again. In the same 5426, you can able to use 5226 like this, correct? So that's what your permutation is actually, nothing else. So in the same row, you can able to repeat the same number again. So that's what repetition is. So if its repetition is allowed, you can use this formula. If this repetition is not allowed, you can use this formula. So in this password, if you are making 1, 2, 3, 4, you should not use again 1, 2, 1, 4. This one is not allowed to repeat again in the same row. But in this plate number, for our car plate number, you can give 1, 1, 2, 4 like this. So this one can able to repeat. So if it's a repetition, go ahead with this formula. If there is no repetition, go ahead with this formula. And then combination. So unordered arrangement of the object is called your combination. So a group of people, you are just going to select in a team, no matter whatever itself. So that's what your combination is. So group of people you are selected in a team, they are on the group, no matter they are in the same height or they are in the same weight or say they are in the same classroom. So that's not matter. So you are just selecting some group of people randomly. That's all. So now you are just going to make some. You are just going to order the pizza. So you want to make something like tomato and olive on this pizza. So that you are not going to bother about first they make up with tomato or olive. Uh, Final result you want both tomato and olive in this pizza. So that's what actually the combination is. Okay, so the next thing is formula for combination is exactly like this. So if I am just giving a ABC, so what is the possible outcome of this combination? So you can able to make 10 letters. So this is what your combination is. So we are in the probability, we have a two formula, one is a combination and another one is a permutation. So this is actually the theory. So just to go ahead with this theory, just to go through this theory for probability, that's more than enough. So the next thing is what we are going to discuss is a distribution. It's another theory class. So in this distribution, what we are going to discuss here is, see, when you are going ahead with the probable outcomes of a variable, that's known as a distribution. So this is also the outcome, probability also the outcome. So this discrete distribution, and in we are actually, that is nothing but all the individual probabilities must equal to 1. Actually this distribution also like a part of probability only. So this is also the probable outcome. In this discrete distribution means sum of all individual probability must equal to 1. So that's what your discrete probability is. So in this discrete probability distribution, we are actually having this three distribution: uniform, binomial, Poisson distribution. When you comes to uniform distribution, the best example is a dash. So all the positive outcomes, the space between these two things is only 1. So for 1 and 2, so if I am getting this 1, 2, the space between is 1, and 2 and 3 space is 1, and 3 and 4 space is 1, 4 and 5 space is 1, 5 and 6 space is 1. So if you are having a same space between each and every outcome, so that is known as your uniform distribution. So when you come to binomial, bi, so always bi belongs to 2. So either this or that, head or tail, your coin flipping, on, off, sick, health, success, failure. So this, you are going to get an outcome of this or that. That is comes as a binomial distribution. So in this binomial distribution, you are just going to experiment a random stuff. So this is that formula for this. Okay. So this is how the binomial distribution will looks like. So whenever we are having some spaces like 0.5 to 0.1 and 0.5 to 1, then we will definitely get a graph which is exactly like this, because we don't know, it may come start from 0.1 and it will end with 0.5, or it will start with 0.5 and it will end with 1 like this. So to denote this thing, we are actually having this kind of graph for binomial distribution. And this is actually the formula for binomial distribution. Just to go through this formula, that's enough. So Poisson distribution means it is considered as a number of success per unit of time. That's what your Poisson distribution is. So this is if the formula for your Poisson distribution, occurrence divided by interval. So this is what your probability Poisson distribution formula is. So now the example for Poisson distribution is you have a warehouse, and in this warehouse you are expecting 4 to 5 p.m. So in 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. you are expecting total 8 deliveries. This is what now your task is. So the possible outcome, the probability of this 4 to 5 for this stuff is, like for example, now I am just asking you to, I am telling you 4 to 5, the possible deliveries are 8. But it doesn't matter for you, the first product delivery by 4 or 4:45. Okay. So for example, by 4 to 4:30, you got only 2 products. But that doesn't mean 4:30 to 5, you are not going to get the another 6 products. So probably 4:30 to 5, you will get the remaining steps to deliver, correct? So this kind of steps are known as your Poisson distribution. So this is actually the formula. So that's all. So when you are just going ahead with the distribution, we are having another stuff like a normal distribution. So the normal, which is nothing but you are just going to make some bias between left and right, like you are exactly like your binomial distribution. So binomial distribution will work on zeros and ones, but this normal distribution will work on continuous numbers. So the continuous number may be anything. So when you are just going ahead with the discrete, you are having something like always 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 like this. The outcome is probably only 1. So 0 to 1. But when you are just going ahead with this normal distribution, we can able to expect any kind of number. We can expect 0 to 1 or 0, 1 to 5. Like we can able to expect anything. So that's what your normal distribution is. So this normal distribution, we are having, we used to evaluate with this two concept. One is a Gaussian distribution or a bell curve. So what is this two thing is, we have a negative and a positive. So this curves which you are just making is making in this negative or positive skew. When you are just going ahead with this negative skew, this negative side is actually greater than positive side. So then it's a negative skew. So if positive side is greater than your negative side means, then it's known as a positive skew. So this is some concept you need to understand. So this mid stuff, so the midline which we are actually calculating based on this median or mode or mean. So this known as a lower tail and this is known as upper tail. So I just want you guys to understand this kind of graphs, because when we are just going ahead with your visualization part, we used to discuss about this distribution. So that time you guys needs to know about what is distribution or what are the kind of distribution that's actually available. So that's the reason I gave this small theory. Okay. So we discussed about the probability and we discussed about the distribution now. So the next concept is we need to discuss about your what to say, we need to discuss about our outliers. Okay, so for this outliers, first you guys needs to understand what is outliers. Okay, so outliers, that is nothing but see, now you are just going to handle one data set. The data set, it may be around 100 of okay, it's having a 10,000 data, 10,000 rows. Now, what I am asking you to do is this outlier, sorry, this data contains any outlier? That's what my question for you is. So for this perspective, first we need to know what is outlier. So for to know what is outlier, first step you guys needs to understand what all that particular data is all about. So that particular data is all about our so kind of educational loan handling data. Okay, that is from call center. So the call center which is having a three different category. So category 1 is education loan, and category 2 is a pension, and category 3 is a car loan. Okay. So education loan, which kind of age group we need to approach? We need to approach from 18 to 21 actually. Car loan, probably we can able to start to approach from 27 to max 40. We should not go for the 40 plus for car loan, because 40 plus we can't able to make it right. So car loan or a house loan, we mostly prefer this 27 to this 40. So the next thing is, we can able to go ahead with your pension. So pension we will actually gonna apply with 65. Okay. So now this is my age group. That is what I given I gotten from the call center. So call center people, they told if the age group is in between 18 to 25, they are going to call and they are going to approach for the education loan. If the age group is in between 30 to 27 to 40, they are going to approach for their car loan. If the age group is around 65 plus, they are going to approach for pension loan. So pension kind of helps. So now I got first document. The document is almost contains a 50,000 of data. So that is for the education loan. So in call centers, when they are actually going to call some numbers, they used to first upload it to some for the people who are going to call. So they will upload in their system. So they will get the set of numbers. So they used to call all the numbers every day. So now I need to aware of. So if I am for education loan, if I am calling the person who's actually in the 67 age, they are not going to study after this. So in this scenario, this education loan, if I am making one call wrong, I'm not going to get any money from this company. But if I am making one call right, I will get $0.5. If the call is converted, then I will get $1. So this is how actually my points I am going to get. So for education loan, if I am calling a wrong person, then definitely it is a loss for me. So now I need to consider this outliers. Outliers means for education loan, what's our age group? Target is 19 to 21. Okay. So this is what my target is. So now if I am having any other data outside this range. So for example, I am having some data in 12, and I am having some data in 35, and I am having some data in 25, and I am having some data in 45, and I am having a one more data that is in 65. Okay. So now this 12, anyhow, less than 15, less than 18, they are not going to decide anything. So this 12, you can make this as a external, this all this thing which is not comes into this range, we can tell this as a outliers. So all this is all outlier, and this is also outlier. This is what outlier is. Outlier means some data point which is not comes for the particular range which you decided, that's known as outlier. So this is known as a considerable outlier. So this is not actually a considerable outlier. So we can just tell this as a outbound outlier. Outbound outlier means we can, even though if it's a 25, 35, 45, probably sometimes the age 35 plus peoples, they used to go to abroad to Canada or someone in this study visa, and then they will study there and to settle. So that kind of stuff's also actually happening nowadays in India, right? So now what we can go tell this as a outbound outliers. uh, Sorry, inbound outliers. Inbound outlier means it is not considerable, but we can consider it. That's not an issue. Okay. Outbound outlier means you are not about to consider that thing. So this age groups we are not going to consider, because of course they are not going to study at all. Rarely, but it's a waste of time to handle them. So that's the thing. We will come to conclude that stuff. So if you want to approach for the educational loan, the right age group is 19 to 21. If you are having a 25 35 like this, that's also you may consider. If you are Even though if it's outlier, we are telling as a inbound outlier. That means a considerable one. Outbound outliers means you are not going to considerable one. That's what your outlier is. This is your outlier. We used to denote outlier with the help of box plot. Okay. So we have something called some numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now actually what I explained for you guys is what is outlier. Now I am going to explain how to plot, how the box plot will plot. Okay. So I have this 5 numbers. First let me get this 3. So 3. And here I need to make, okay, let me start with this one first. So now what I'm just going to start here is all about this 1 first. So 1 and then 5. I just made this. And then in the mid 3. So now this is the very last one, and this is the very, this is the very first one, this is the very last one, and this is the median one. Now 2, and now here 3, 4. Now you are just going to make some plot like this. So this is how box plot. So this is how your box plot looks like. Okay. So I'm just simply telling how to plot your box plot. That's all. Okay. We are not doing anything else. Simply we are just plotting your box plot. That's all. So you have 1 and you have a 5 and you have a 3 and you have a 2 and you have a 4. So this 3 will be interlinked with each other and this thing will be just getting. So something, if some datas are there, you will get this that as a dots when you are plotting in a graph. So these dots are considered as a outlier. So if you are having a one more element means like 6, now this mean value of this 2 will be your mid of this thing. Okay, so you can tell this is a Q, you can tell this is a Q1, Q2, and this is your Q3, and this is your Q4, and this is your Q5. So we need total 5 data to plot the box plot. So whatever now we discussed, it's all the theory class. Okay. So this theory class, it's actually over by today itself. So whatever you know as of now, that's more than enough. So if there any theory needed in between our data science class, we'll have the theory overview for 5 to 10 minutes. So I just explain what is probability. I just explain what is distribution. I just explain what is outliers. So last time we discussed what is data and what is data science. Now
Myra,
our
is
next
this
class, 1 minute,
hello?
let me finish. So the next class is by Monday. We are going to start with the coding part. Okay. So in this coding part, slowly you will start to apply all those things. So in the coding, we will plot this box plot. So that time you guys needs to aware how the how the box plot is plotted and how the box plot is, why we need this box plot is. So the box plot is used for outliers and you can able to plot your, we can able to analyze your outliers with the help of box plot. So this is the summarize of our session. So any doubts?
Myra, is this been added with in this course menu,
Which is?
like in the folder?
Yes.
What is the topic?
It's a statistics theory, Jay. That's all, you can simply go through it, right?
Okay, fine. And you just now told the coding part. The coding, using the coding itself, all the projects are done, right?
What is the question is? Without coding, how you will do the projects?
No, that is what the coding part is very much important. Rather, what you taught all these days.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
So guys, Priya, do you have any doubts, ma?
No, ma'am.
Right. Akash?
No, ma'am.
Okay, guys. So Priya, Akash, everyone kindly revise this Python basics and this theory, because when we are going for the coding part, I won't explain what is outlier. I won't explain how the box plot, why this box plot looks like this. I will just explain only how to plot the box plot in Python. You understand? So please be ready with this. Monday onwards, we are going to start with a very, very important part. So please be ready. So your time is always 6:30 only. So if I'm late for 5 or 10 minutes, I will intimate you before itself. Okay, guys.
Okay.
We'll see you on Monday. Bye. Take care.
Bye. Take care.